it's Tony Zazza, and welcome back to my kitchen for another edition of Foodie Fridays. Very excited about this one. We're going to be smoking on indirect heat on the egg plate ribs, beef plate ribs. These are absolutely incredible. It's about a 6-hour process, so you want to take that into consideration. But when these bad boys are done, you're going to bite into the tastiest, juiciest, most amazing beef ribs you've ever had. So without further ado, let's take a look at what we're going to need to get this process rolling, and then we'll get started. A beautiful slab of beef plate ribs. That's a great start. I got these at Wassey's Meat Market locally here in Melbourne, Florida. You also want to make sure that you have some butcher paper on hand. This is going to be used as part of the cooking process and really the secret technique in pulling this off. A great rub. This is awesome. It's Holy Cow. It's made by Meat Church. It's a barbecue rub. These guys are out of Waxahachie, Texas, which near my old stomping grounds in DFW. Shout out to DFW. And then some wood chips. These are cherry wood chips for the smoking process. We're going to do this on indirect heat, and I'll break it all down for you once we get out to the egg here in just a second. First, though, we got to get this bad boy rubbed up. So we're going to take our rub and just generously douse it like this. And as with any rub, you really want to get in and make sure that it's nice and pressed into this meat. And once you get all that done, and I'm never too shy on the rub, once you get all that nice and pressed in and really dug into that meat, you're going to let it sit in the fridge for about an hour at the minimum. Some people want to do it overnight. You can do that as well, but for the purposes of cooking this today, we'll do it for about an hour. So once you get the egg to about 250, we're going to set this bad boy up for indirect heat using the ConvEEGtor. So you just open it up. We're going to take our cherry wood chips and place them around the cone of the coals that you've got set up and around the fire that we've built, like such. And then we'll put the ConvEEGtor on and let that sit. And what you're looking for is for that nice blue smoke, and then you know you're ready to throw the grill on and put the ribs on the grill. But you want to wait for that blue smoke, which is going to take just a little bit. So you want to watch that top vent. And once that blue smoke's clear, throw those ribs on and we're cooking. Once you start to notice a nice color change in that smoke, again, it's called blue smoke, and you can actually smell the fragrance from the type of chips you use, that's when you know you're pretty good to go. So at that time, you want to open up your egg, grab the rack plate ribs, and just throw them right there in the middle. And we're going to shut the top and let it do its thing right at about 250 degrees. And you're going to check back because we're looking for an internal temperature of 160 degrees. And then that's when the secret step comes in using that butcher paper, and we'll show you that coming up here in just a few. Let's go ahead and check that internal temp now. Oh wow, look at that. Remember, you're looking for about 160 degrees, and we are right at about 160. So we're going to take these off, wrap them in butcher paper, and then throw them back in and continue to cook them until they are probe ready, and I'll explain that here in just a sec. So I've got the plate ribs off the egg now, and we're going to take it and place it upside down on the butcher paper. And then you just want to wrap so that the top stays there. And this is how we're going to put it back on the egg to cook for the rest of the time. Now that we've got the plate ribs wrapped in butcher paper, we're going to put it back on to cook the rest of the time. And what we're looking for now is our temperature probe going in and sliding out without any resistance, and that's when you know it's probe ready and these things will be delicious. So you want to keep an eye on it, check on it every couple 30 minutes or so, and then once that probe just slides in and out like melted butter, those bad boys are good to come off and get cut up. Let's go ahead and do the probe test. Again, we want it to be probe tender, which you want the probe to go in and out feeling like melted butter almost, and it's going to be about an internal temp of about 190. But let's do the probe test. Oh yeah, that's nice. Now let's see what temp it's at, just to see. We are sitting at 192. These are perfect and ready to come off. So the plate ribs have passed the probe test. That means the probe went in and out of the meat like melted butter. There was no resistance. Right at about 192 degrees. We're going to let them rest for 15 minutes, keeping them wrapped in the butcher paper. You can put them on a butcher block or a tray or whatever. We've got it ready for our boost butcher block. We're going to cut into them here in just a second on that with our Schoon knife. So 15 minutes from now, we'll cut in and see how it turns out. So the plate ribs have been sitting in the butcher paper for 15 minutes, just resting after we pulled them off the green egg, and now it's time to cut into them. Woo, here comes the real test. I'm a little nervous, first time I've ever done this, but hopefully these will be perfect on the inside. Oh my gosh, they smell incredible. Let me grab my... Look at these bad boys. Wow. So there you have it. We're going to take our Schoon knife on our boost cutting board and see how this looks. Fingers crossed. Here we go. Oh yeah. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Wow. This smells so good. And just juicy as all get out. So there you have it. Plate ribs, indirect heat, smoked on the big green egg. You can get the big green egg, you can get Schoon cutlery, you can get the boost cutting boards, you can get Yetis, and all the rubs and seasonings you could dream of at Wassey's Meat Market in Melbourne. I'll leave all the details down in the bottom. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up, and I look forward to seeing you next week with another Foodie Fridays.